Good afternoon and welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios. I'm your host, Elysé Ahmad. Student activism has played a crucial role in history as a driving force for social change. Student movements have toppled powerful dictatorships and military regimes, from ending the apartheid in South Africa to the Vietnam War in the 1970s. From the civil rights movement to women's right to vote, students have remained at the forefront of some of the most tumultuous times in history. A recent example of these student movements occurred just last semester at Purchase as students protested against the conflict in Palestine and for divestment from Israeli-owned brands. We asked Purchase College students their thoughts on whether student-led protests are effective in enacting real change. Here's what they had to say.
I definitely think they can have an effect on legislation. I feel like that's what we're sort of starting to see with a couple universities talking about actually defunding and looking at the vendors that these universities have. And I think it that could be something that takes place on a larger scale too. I think it's definitely something that can have an impact, and I feel like at least last year it definitely shifted the culture on campus. It definitely shifted people's awareness. So I think if it has the power to do that, I feel like if we keep up with that, it could also have the power to influence actual campus policy and then moving that up to student legislation, state legislation.
I think it's a very effective way of showing older people that our generation actually does care about stuff, because I feel like a lot of the times older people think we just see stuff on social media, or we just don't care as much as we actually do. I feel like our generation is one of the more politically conscious generations, because again, everything is at our fingertips. We can see so much. Its news is reached so much faster. But
I think it's possible, but I think as long as we're still putting our money in here, then it doesn't really matter. Because, you're still spending your money on the college anyway, so it's not like they care if you protest or not. You know what I mean?
Definitely, I think they can have a real effect. I think it had a real effect here. And I think that just people being together and sharing a common goal will be positive in any aspect.
It depends where they're protesting.
I'd say it definitely depends.
I think it's just it's a powerful way for people our age to organize amongst each other.
I think student-led protests absolutely do raise a lot for legislation. It does put pressure, but beyond student protests, there is more that people need to do, actually calling your representatives. But protests definitely put a lot of immediate pressure on lawmakers.
I feel like in the past, I think protesting on colleges and universities, I think they've brought at least awareness, if not change, but I think it's definitely contributed. I think because it's so many things that go into that. And so I think just even the awareness and the fact that people can see that a large group of people care about this and are wanting to do something about it, I think that leads to change.
I would agree. I think it's the biggest thing is awareness, but I also think if what the student-led protest, if it's organized to the point where people are here for a reason, and then also going into legislation petitions and things that can actually be signed to put stuff in place, I think that's where the change actually happens.